Testing, testing, testing. I made it out of clay. Testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. I made it out of clay. Testing. All right. And we're live. Sorry, I was watching a Jada Black video a little bit. I'll watch the rest of it later. But tonight, we're going to be working with get and post and actually having a get and post route and getting that all done. So essentially what we're going to be doing is working off of the schema that we created on Tuesday and then actually using that schema in a actual route. So I already have most of this code done. You'll see me go through it here, but I have most of it done in another project that I was working on. So we'll go through it and we'll make the necessary changes for it. But for the most part, what we're going to do is we'll have a couple conditions that we're going to go over in terms of the input. And then once those conditions are met, then we'll go ahead and actually post information to the backend, and then the backend is just going to do a simple response to the front end, and that'll be like we'll do like a res.send, and we'll send back the information that was sent to the backend in the first place. So there's that. It won't store anything in the database. And then if we have time and if I can do it fast enough, then we'll go ahead and actually put it in the database and deal with any problems there and debug and fix as necessary. As always, we first start off with an image. I went through a couple images actually, but I like this one because I like guns. This one's pretty cool. A modular SMG AR conversion kit. It's like, all right, it's pretty interesting design. Looks like really slim. It's almost like it's one piece, but obviously not. But yeah, it almost looks like it's like one piece. I really kind of like it. There's some other pictures here that came before it. This one, well, that doesn't look too good right there. So I don't know if that's safe for kids. It's like a crazy looking Ninja Turtle. This was cool. It reminded me of my days playing Unreal. I think I used to play like Unreal 2003 or something like that. J Boss, man, appreciate you showing up, bro. Yeah, that is a pretty cool gun. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Pretty cool pictures today. So, all right. So today I was doing a little work with the Google API, which was cool. I'll show you guys a little bit of that. So with the Google API, and this is kind of like a project that I want to do personal and for my day job. We have this thing where I want to find some way to actually do some lead generation. I haven't totally presented it to my bosses yet, but it's just something. Actually, I've talked to them about something like this, but I might work on it in, just on the side, maybe on the weekends or something like that. But working with the Google API and also working with also using like what's it called, environment variables in Postman. So in Postman, you can actually have environment variables, and then you can define those environment variables here, and then call those environment variables. Here we go. Call those environment variables with the syntax here that you see. I don't want to hover over it because it'll actually show my API key, and I want to show you guys that. Even though it's restricted, so I'm not really too worried about it. But working with the Google Maps API, I figured out how to get access to the geocode API. So with the geocode API, I can put in an address, and then with that address, then I can get the longitude and latitude. And then with that longitude and latitude, I can actually put that into, make a Google URL, and then make it clickable to where I can actually see that building or what have you. But what's really cool about this is that looking at the address components and things like that, it gives you like all this information. So this is like a random address that I picked out in Jacksonville, Florida. and you can get all the stuff from like the zip, and then the biggest thing that works the best is where is it? Under geometry and then location. This is the this latitude and longitude are the best ones that will get you the building. And then with the Google API, you can actually change the zoom in terms of how far in you want or how much you want to zoom in on that building itself. So in fact, let me see if I can. This one was pretty cool. Ooh, This one was pretty cool. Hopefully this will work. I don't know what's going on. It's taking a while. But once you get this information, then you can push that into a function that will show up here in this JS fiddle. It's taking a sweet time. Great. Just when I wanted to kind of show it off. Huh. Weird. Other websites work? Yeah, so other websites work. Maybe JS Fiddle's having an issue right now. Darn. I guess we could maybe try that later or just not really care about it. But what was cool about it is that you can actually take this latitude and longitude, put it in there, and it would actually show you rendering of the map or the Google Maps. So that's really nice because I want to, as I've talked about before, I actually wanted to get like a lawnmower for myself because it just sucks having to almost beg people for your money around here, or sorry, beg people to take your money to get your lawn cut. So I was just like kind of pissed about that. And I was like, all right, cool. I want to start a lawn business. So I want to do it in a more new age automation, user friendly route and start looking at doing things like, okay, uh, start looking at things like, okay, an estimator tool, and that estimator tool would actually show people, where they are on the map and stuff like that. Yeah, it looks like, oh man, API post library pure. Well, I don't know what happened with that. I'll have to look at my history today. I think I have it. Ooh, that sucks. I'm probably hitting the wrong endpoint and not the right fiddle. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, so if I can find a way to make that a little bit easier for people and actually have their home kind of like show up, that would be kind of nice. So let's see. Playground. Huh. I'm looking through my history here. I don't know. Pixel perfect scaling. Oh wow, that's from a couple days ago. Darn, I must have had it in a private browser. Darn it, that sucks. All right, yeah, it is what it is. Sorry about that, guys. But essentially, it would show Google. It would show the Google Map section, or the area for the Google Map, or yeah, it would show a rendering of it and show the satellite imagery, so that I can actually start drawing lines on it on the property, and then start giving better estimates on people's property without even going to their home. Because the problem, what we're seeing is, let me just go ahead and actually search and I'll show you guys a little bit. And I think this is pretty cool because it's all about not just doing, cool stuff, but actually doing things that can help grow your own business or what have you. So, for instance, if I using this API here or using this the the URL, you can see that I can actually put things in and format my address just about any which way. It'll clean it up for me, and then it'll return a latitude and longitude. Also, you'll see this section here where it says comma 17Z. That stands for the zoom. Now, knowing a little bit about the API, if you put in a zoom of 21, it should zoom in a little bit closer. But if you actually use the API and the code that I wanted to show you, it would actually give me this map here, this whole section here, without all the other extra stuff. So you can actually use the, there's like a JavaScript library for Google, and with that, you can zoom into buildings and things like that. And then nice thing is you can actually set the map type or the base map type to satellite. And then with it being satellite, then I can start seeing like, okay, what's really going on, where the property lines are and stuff like that. Well, actually, this shows the property lines a lot better, to be honest. But if I can actually, overlay that in some way, shape, or form, I'll try and do that now that I think about it. But what's nice about this is that I can say, oh, okay, this is how it looks from the satellite view, right? It's like, all right, I want to draw the property lines for this. Right click, measure distance, and then click another point, 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 another point. Now I can get the actual total square footage or get the actual area in square feet. So now if I take that, and again, I would automate all of this. So I would go to google.com. Actually, no, we go to DuckDuckGo. That's a cool picture too. And with DuckDuckGo, we'll do like square feet to acres. And we have our square foot number. And come on. Come on. Okay, I think it's because of this. There we go. So that's 9 acres. So now that I know it's 9 acres, right? So then I can go to like just a regular calculator or have an actual function, right? Maybe I say something like from 0 to 2 acres, I charge this much per acre. From 2 acres to 50 acres, I charge this much per acre. So at that point, someone can actually, let's see here, Home Classic. All right, let's edit this here. So for instance, we have our request an estimate. No, we can actually take this and we will go ahead and dock this so you guys can see it. We'll dock it to the right-hand side. All right, yeah, that's good. So I can actually look at this, request an estimate. What's it called? What was it called? We'll call it like self-estimation tool. And then that tool, it'll be a form here. We'll change all that stuff. So we'll ask for like, we'll say like, this would be address, and we'll have all the different address fields in there. And we can just say like, what type of service. So for lawn mowing, and then anything else in terms of a message. And then we can just put in generate estimate. Right. So then once they click on generate estimate, that will go ahead and estimate based off of all the information they've given us here. So if I choose inspect on that, I can say in this field, in this, I can say something like acreage or acreage. Right, and then maybe even have a select box next to it that says something like, is this acres or square feet? Like maybe some people only know the square feet of their home or something like that, or not the square feet of their home, but the square feet of their lot, because a lot of lots under a certain amount will say, if it's like less than a quarter acre or something like that, it'll give you a larger number and put it in square feet as opposed to acres, because you can get, it'll look a little bit bigger. It's kind of like padding the numbers. So he's like, oh, wow, I got 1,600 square feet, or no, 16,000 square feet in terms of, your property. And it's just like, that's really not that much. Actually, it probably is a lot. Let's duplicate here and go here. So if I do 16,000 square feet, yeah, okay, it's not that much, right? So it's like 0.36 acres. Right. So it's like if you tell somebody 16,000 square feet, wow, that's a lot, because they think of it like it's a home or something like that. But really, it's only like, that's the standard lot size for most homes, is about a quarter acre to a third of an acre. Half an acre is somewhat of an oversized lot, depending on the subdivision that you live in or the housing scheme that you live in. But I can take this and then I can generate an estimate on page 1. Also, when they actually click on generate an estimate, that starts sending information to my backend. My backend can start sending me emails, contact information, and all types of other stuff. So if you want an estimate, I can make it to where you have to put in a phone number. I have to validate that phone number, maybe even validate the email address, make sure it's not a bogus email address as well. So little things like that, and then I can get, that way I can do some type of lead generation from the person. And if it, in terms of like, they can't put in an email address of a@a.com. Like that's just not going to work. That's not even, you can't even get that as a domain, I believe. And then like that as an email address, no, that's just not going to work. So most places they're going to have you have an email address where it's more than one character or even 3 characters before the @ sign. That's just in my experience. I've never seen anything less than even 3 characters. It's not that I say it's not possible, but at that point, I can just call their bluff. And if they want to estimate from me, then they're going to have to put that in. Then if the back end, and I was talking to also a data provider too earlier today, and again, just doing some stuff that would be probably pretty cool for the company, and seeing if I can actually make this happen. And it would be like really cool things. So I try to find like cool things, and do things and be like, oh, hey, listen, this is a cool thing I wanted to do that could possibly help out the sales side of the business or something like that. But yeah, so yeah, you can do stuff like this with the Google API. Go ahead and check it out, and definitely get an API key from Google. It is free. I did put a credit card number on there, but I'm trying to stay within the free tier and everything like that. And I'll be just like putting this project together and doing a couple things with this. So we'll see. I also got to buy a lawnmower, it looks like. So yeah, we'll get to that. All right, so get out of that. And hopefully I can get that other thing, man. I wish I would have seen that API, but it just shows a Google map in a window, so it's nice. It's just like a cool thing to show people, like, hey, listen, you can put this Google map here in this this little window here. All right, so we will get into the code here today. So on our last episode, let's increase this. So if we look at what we did with Coinbase, we're still getting everything here. Oops, cancel. So if we do something, we're gonna do this. Here we go. In terms of what we've been doing, we got it to where it shows timestamp and a portfolio balance. We can go ahead and choose send. It'll talk to Coinbase. Then once it gets an answer from Coinbase, it'll forward it on to me. So I can see here that Coinbase, my portfolio balance today was like 34, 33 grand. Now it's like 36. It's like, all right, cool. That's nice. But like it's fluctuating a lot. The market is extremely volatile, as we already know, but it's a lot happening on there. Let me go ahead and mute my phone here. Yeah, so now what we want to do is start actually putting in accounts. And we're going to do this via an API call. What we're going to be doing, we're going to duplicate the tab. And we're going to do, so we can do a kind of our choice in terms of endpoint names, of course. It's our API. We can do whatever we want, right? So let's go ahead, nano server, controller, API. So let's CP. So we're going to go ahead and copy something, and then we're going to go to server API. Nope, controller API. And we're going to do this to, no, we're going to call this an entry. So this is a general endpoint. And with this general endpoint, or this general entry endpoint, it's going to take in entries. So for instance, any entries with an account, any entries with day-to-day, manual entries that I would make, such as like from my checking accounts. I don't have access to my bank's API or anything like that. I don't have access to an M1 Finance API, which I hope they will come out with pretty soon. But once I have an access to an API or to their API, then I can go ahead and consume it. But for now, we're just going to be doing some manual entries. So we're going to call this entries or entry. Entries. Yeah, we'll do entry. Yeah, entry, Coinbase. Yeah, okay, entry's fine name. We can always change it. No big deal. But yeah, we'll do that. And in another window, we will go ahead and watch our process. So it just made that file. What we're going to have to do is define it. So we have a folder, or we have a routes file in our controller folder called route.js. So this is where I have all my user stuff. So Coinbase user. This is where we take that file and we say, okay, this file has code in it that we need. I don't have any API endpoint, API.use, Coinbase. Okay, yeah. So I don't have like any custom or core code, but that goes in this API file that we're actually defining here. So we're going to define entry. And again, these are all like just default names, or not default names, just the general entry point. Entry could have what do you want to call those? Subdirectories? Yeah, we'll call them subdirectories. All right, so API, and then we're going to call this entry. So we can have API /API/entry /manual or something like that, right? And then that manual, we can build it however we want. Maybe it's a broker account or something else, something based off of our schema. Part of the whole live coding part is where I just actually go through it with you guys. You guys are my rubber ducky, if you will. I hope you guys watched that last video about the rubber ducky for debugging. And sometimes it's just good to talk to other people, even if it's just sometimes yourself. Don't worry, you're not crazy. All right, so now that loads. Once you make that file change. Oh, and always, hey, listen, for the guys that do watch the playback, I appreciate you. And for the people that are watching live, I really do appreciate you. Jermaine, I think, is the one watching live. Richard Dixon, I know he got help last time. If there's anything you guys need in terms of live coding and you have some stuff that you want to talk about or something like that, please let me know. And then we could probably even try and work on it together later on in the stream. That last stream was about like 3 hours. So spent some good time with Richard there. Working with him and his problem, which turned out mainly to be a type issue. A lot of his other code was spot on. So he just got caught up with using triple equal sign, which means that it equals, it's the same in comparison. It has to be the same value when compared, and it also has to be the same type. Meaning if it was evaluating a string comparison or a number comparison, and if one was a string and one was a number, and you use triple equal, those are not the same type because a string is not a number. So it's like things like that happen. And it's kind of not tricky with JavaScript, but if it's in quotes, if 2 is in quotes, that's a string. If 2 is out there like that, that's a number. So that was the problem that he was having with his code, and it was pretty simple to fix. But we did go through that on the last one around the 2-hour mark, or a little bit after the 2-hour mark. So if you guys want to catch that replay, you guys can always go back. And at some point, if I take some money and put aside, I will go ahead and purchase the StreamYard software and or the license for it and everything like that. But I just like investing a lot, so I apologize for that. Sorry for you guys to suffer. 720p, not high def. All right, so all right, we got our entry. I think we've talked enough here. So we got our entry here. All right, cool. That should be it. So now I can go to this entry file, nano into it. I'm not going to be using any Coinbase stuff for that. Account, and then let's actually look at our schema. This will help us make this endpoint. So cd opt fat nano server, and we're going to do that's in our model because we use the programming pattern of model view controller, or MVC. So we're going to use our model, and then we're going to use our schema. And then from here, we have account schema, account description, account type, brokerage, balance. So let's do this. With an Express.js endpoint, if you don't know exactly what the endpoint's going to be and you want to actually map that to some type of variable and then do something based on that variable, actually, let's take this out. Based on that variable, and let's make this a post route, because we're going to be using a post method to transmit data to the endpoint. We can use a get method, but I usually like using a post method because then I can use my JSON objects. So, but with that, we can say, okay, it'll be API / actually, we can test it. Res.send status. We'll say 200. Right, and then we can do this here. So we define this file as being API / entry / account, right? And then it is using the post method. So now if we actually did a get method to this, right, and we don't have anything for a get method, then we can see what happens here. All right, so it says cannot get entry point and count because there's no method that would answer for that. That's just how it's going to respond. So I think this is a 404 not found, right? So that's our HTTP methods showing up there. So now if we do a post method, we are getting a OK, which is our HTTP status code of 200, right? So essentially we go to it and then it says, hey, it's OK, boom, and comes back. But in this case, let's go ahead and we can actually take out this and status, and then we could do send, and then also do a status. And then what we can do here is let's, listen, man, if you can't take it, don't dish it out. But we're going to do it with post. So essentially, we're going to give it back what we got. So in this case, we'll do, let's say body. Or I usually like to say object because that's what I usually get in my body, right? Or that's what I usually like to put out there. Oh, no, I don't need this. Oh, no, I want to do this. So you're going to do request. If we want to actually get to the body with Express.js, right, when you're doing it, you define the method. And you can also define the method within this here as well. And then there's ways that you can actually nest it to make it a little bit cleaner. But I usually like to separate it. You can actually do like a router.request res, and then you can actually nest all the different types for that endpoint if you wanted to. So if you have an endpoint like accounts, and you don't want to do like, multiple functions for the same one, right? Like a get, like that gets, in some cases, if it's simple or if you've abstracted a lot away, and kind of like what we did with the Coinbase code. So if we go all the way back to the beginning, so if we see all this Coinbase code here, And all I did was just hold down Alt U until it got to the original state of the file. But you could see with this, it's like, okay, well, I've abstracted so much away. By the time it actually gets to it and calls anything, all I have is one function, really clean, but it splits things into different files and makes you go down to through rabbit holes and stuff like that. But let's do Alt E and replay everything. Cool. So what we can do is, and I'm not exactly sure about the syntax, so forgive me, but essentially you can do res, I think it's like router dot, and then, yeah, and then, so you can do dot get, and then you can even do dot post, and you can do all your different methods kind of like that, and it makes it a little bit cleaner. So if we have it to where it was before in terms of like the Coinbase, and how we only have one function, and now all it takes is the callback and handles, and it extracts away a lot of the back end code and making it look a lot cleaner in terms of its endpoint and the endpoint execution. Then there's little to nothing that we have to do here. All this stuff is handled beforehand. And I'm also trying to experiment and better actually the way I code a little bit, so making it a little bit cleaner, without being too confusing. Anyways, so we have request.body, right? Because the request is what's sent to us, right? So I'll send a request. That request will actually have a body, and that body could be this stuff here, right? And whatever that is, I'm going to return. So I'll do a post, and this will be the body. And in some cases, you can actually set the header to be like, okay, it's going to be raw text, it's going to be JSON, so on and so forth. So in my case, I'm going to say object, right? I mean, just because I've defined it as an or sorry, not defined, I named it obj, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be an object. So that means you have to do things like doing some checks, possibly, making sure that it's a valid JSON or something like that. You might want to do a check like that, or actually have code that does check for a valid JSON object, and that's something that's nice, and I'll probably put in my core file. All right, so yeah, I think that's really it. And make sure we restart. Everything's good. All right, so let's go. Send. Oh, sends back nothing. Object. Object. I wonder if it gives us an error. No, it doesn't give us an error. So our request body is text and text. Set that to text. I'm wondering why our account entry, post, list object, body, request that object. Where is that send, that status? So I set my status to 200. Raw, preview, visualize. Why? Mr. Anderson. We could put JSON if we wanted to. Maybe it's like because it's not a string or something like that. I wanted to do a quick test, but doc type, unexpected token in JSON T. All right, so we gotta. All right, cool. What? All right, unexpected T token in JSON. Where's that body? All right, so types. Weird. Raw. Body, post, headers. Application.json. I'm sending, it's a post. And then do I have anything? API entry. All right. When in doubt, restart it, and that does nothing. So I know it says Huh? I guess I gotta use double quotes, whatever. The reason why this is like hard for me here is the reason why it's hard for me here is because it's like in the back end in some parts of like when you're running code or working with code, that it doesn't require you to actually encapsulate it. It doesn't require you to encapsulate the key, which is highlighted as test. It doesn't require you to actually encapsulate the key value in a double quote or even a single quote. You can just put it in however. But this goes into checking proper JSON. What does your backend expect? Things like that. But for the most part, yeah, it looks like it's good now. But as you can see, we sent it, we posted information, and then we sent it. Now, what we want to do is and I don't know what we want to call this, account type. And again, we don't even have to define this account type. Let's go back to our schema here. So I want to figure out, this may not be necessary, but when I'm entering something in my accounts, like I'm trying to enter a new account, like for instance, I want to enter in a checking account, right? Is there any special code that I have to write or that I have to, a special function that I have to run or write and then execute for just the account of checking or checking accounts, right? So what helps is looking at, finance tracker. Looking at what we actually enter in, right? So if I enter in anything for an account, I have basically the date, which is autofilled for me, the name of said account, which we should only have to enter an account once, and then we should be able to delete an account as well. So I could say, okay, listen, I have my account American Express, and this is the value, and this is the date. There are some other things such as drop-down boxes that we could have. So this account would be an account type of debt. My brokerage in this case, there would be no brokerage, so uh, I don't require it. And then I have a balance required true. So then it could at least be 0. I don't know if it'll be non-zero or if it has to be non-zero. But yeah, we can actually put that in. And I assume I'd probably have it as like a positive value as well and not a negative value. Everything's always a positive value. And if it's marked as debt, it should be considered negative or a liability. But it still has a positive value associated with it. So it shouldn't be negative. And that's like an accounting thing or accounting thing. And that's just like a consideration that I'm making. I was thinking about this earlier today. It's like, okay, what else can I do with this in terms of like getting it out there and more people using it? All right, so timestamp is already set for me. Account UUID is already set for me. It defaults, all of that. So I don't, like I'm looking at this, I don't need anything special. Also, a lot of this stuff I can define within the JSON object. Sometimes I only use tasks to make sure that I'm running the proper function to what's it called? I'm writing the proper function, or I'm making sure that the proper function is being executed. So, as I was saying, with let's say call this account type. So right here, I can actually have a parameter, and I can have something associated with that. So for instance, if it's an API key, if it's the person's name or person's address or what have you, like I can have all that information. I can actually put that information in a URL here, and then it'll execute code based off of that. Or I can write an if statement that executes code based off of that. So if, and then the way I access that is it'll be called a request, or it's a part of the request item that is, or the request parameter that is passed to in this anonymous function here, request dot params, plural, right? That's why I said it like that. And then account type, right? So account type, request dot params, and then I can send back here account type. All right, so I can actually send that back. Let me see if this will work here. So I send in my body nothing. Post entry error. Account type. Okay. Can't post. Why can you not? Why can you no post? Cannot post entry account. Oh, okay. Sorry. There is no post method for this because I added something. So we can do account. We call this account BSCU or something like that. Or actually Amex. All right, there we go. All right, and then it returns Amex. So all I did is just like, post it, take that parameter as a variable, or take this, the information after the slash. And as you can see, it's very, oh man, it has to match exactly. It looks for an exact match when using Express.js, and it also does things in order. So for instance, if I had this account before or if I had this entry or this endpoint before I had a regular entry like this, it will actually evaluate this entry first. And this means like, what if I just wanted to do just a count or something like that? What would happen? We have no parameter here. And we have no account type. We have obj. This is good because what you can actually do is have a default route. And you can actually go asterisk if you wanted to. And that will evaluate to any route that it goes to. So that's really nice. But you can do these things in order. So we'll do, right? All right, so that's good. So we can do Amex. It'll come back with Amex. And then we can do MXs. All right. And then it'll do that, and that'll be fine, right? Because it's just taking that. And then I could do nothing. All right. And then that nothing will return. It'll go to the next route after that. But now if that wasn't working how I expected it to be honest, because I thought it would have an issue with that, but it doesn't. So that works fine. That's good though. I don't have to like have that work the way I was thinking. The asterisk, I can actually have that save and then it'll still answer because now it's defaulted to anything. So now I can put in like 2 if I wanted to, and it would still come back with 2. Oh, and that's for the account type. But if I can do 2 forward slash, still come with 2. I think we could do it like this. No, that's okay. That's a problem. All right. So sorry. This is good for if I have like accounts and then I have nothing else and I have like for instance, the way I'm expecting this to work, let me just do it like this. If I have accounts.2 and then I can have, oh no, here we go. Boop, boop. Boop. Wait. Why have my text highlighting taken off? Give me a moment. What did I just do? What? Whoa, what was that? Oh, I'm finding all types of new keys here. I just turned off my text highlighting and it's kind of messing with me. But here, if I wanted to, I can have my account type and turn that into number 2. There is no account type here. So then if I wanted to, no, I want to keep that. Here we go. Account 2, and then asterisk. There we go. All right. So what's nice about that is that I can actually still have, oh, let's save it. So if I wanted to, I can have 2A as well, and then I can have 2B. And it just creates a catch-all for you. I was thinking that, if I did this out of order, that it wouldn't evaluate the next one, but it does. So I was wrong about that. That's what was like confusing, like causing me like have a brain fart here. I don't know what I did with the text highlighting. I don't know how I turned that off. Weird. Yeah, I don't know how I turned off text highlighting, but it's just kind of bothering me that everything is all in one color there. All right, so now we see that we have this, information is coming to the endpoint. Now we can do things like, bringing in our core library, and even doing things like uh, doing some JavaScript or JSON validation and stuff like that. So let's bring in our core library and get that defined. This is entry. I think this is right. That's wrong. All right, cool. That was it. I was really trying to guess right there. So even in our core library, there's something that I want to do here. So 3, I don't have a 3. CD opt fat, and then with ls nano server core. Come on, core. There you go, core. JS, and then get our keys file, account data. Got all that defined. I just want to see if I have in here a core function. I have a lot of different core functions that I always use, but I want a core function that, see, I don't have a core function that checks for valid JSON. Now I got to go find one. I know I've had one in the past that I've used. So let's define a new function here. Validate JSON. And it'll take in an object, and then it should return whatever, right? So let's go ahead and find a function on the interwebs that will give us what we want here. That's what I want. All right, validate JSON JS. I've seen this like functions before. There's like there we go. Is JSON. All right. JavaScript provides two methods to work with JSON, which converts a JSON data to a string, and parse, which converts it back to JSON. We can use the parse method by wrapping it inside a try catch block to check if the string is properly parsed or not. If it throws an error while parsing, that means it's not valid JSON. All right, cool. I'll take it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Simple as that. All right, get this off screen here. And all right, so it says, oh, wait, what did I do? Yeah, okay, so return true. JSON is not okay. Wait, I need that. Try catch constraint object. That's what I want to do. Source. I always try to attribute the source. It is what it is. Then other people can actually look at it, review it, see where I got it from, see what the idea was behind it. In this case, I don't need to wrap this in a whole new thing here. Just return true, return false. Like it is what it is. I don't need this is JSON variable constant there. All right, cool. Validate JSON. So a try catch block, what it'll do is it'll try the code here, and if there are any errors, it'll catch it. Now this is good because what happens with JavaScript is if something does error out, then it will spit that error out, and then then it'll actually stop the program and return. It won't even do a graceful return of any sort. So you can say catch error, and if there is an error, like you can do like if error, do something, right? Like you can have an if statement in there, or you can do res send, and then send a JSON object that says failure with the error code, so that your front end can know what the back end actually received as an error code, just to be a little bit more direct and to the point, so that there aren't any issues with like your user base. If your user, sorry, let me close this door here because my fridge is loud. So if your user base, for instance, is using your code or your whatever your web app is, then they can report to you what the error is, or you can even actually have it to where it emails you if there's an error of any sort, and then it can email you that error, and then you can send to front end, hey, the developer has been notified of this error. Please, submit your request via email to this email address. So that's just a really nice way of handling an error, as opposed to getting a 504 gateway unreachable, or gateway timeout, or a 404, or any other type of resource not found error or issue that you might have. You can actually handle these things gracefully. So that's what's nice about a try catch. And I got to get better with these and use them more, I should say. Like I use them, but it's like it's not default in my mind, and that's a problem because that does not scale if your code just starts to error out every single time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a new function to our export so we can actually use it. This is going to take in an object. Oh, we got to do object. All right, return false, return true. So this should evaluate to something, right? So that's good. Let's see here. All right, good. So what we'll do is we'll take our body and we will wrap it in the loving arms of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. All right, I'm not totally serious about that, but So what we can do here is we can do a nice if statement. We can do if and then res.send. If there's a failure, res.send, and then the status. And we can return an okay, but it's probably best to give us an error of some sort. So we can do like, hey, there was an error with it or something like that. So if not object, right? So what this means is falsy. If you do it without the exclamation point, it means truthy, meaning it's returning true or false. So this is a short way of saying like if this is that right there, putting a exclamation point in front of it is a shorthand way of doing equals equals false, false, like that, right? So we're going to be doing it the other way, right? So that's a shorthand way, and then we can just have a little bit cleaner code here. Let's look at our HTTP response codes. Because I forgot them. So we went over this before. Let's say server-side errors, internal server error, bad gateway, service unavailable, gateway timed out, not extended, browser compatibility. We can do bad request. Like we could even send something back that says like, okay, accepted, created, no content, reset content, partial. All right, we're not having a redirect. So that's like your 301 redirects. So permanently move for 301, 302 found, and then it just gives you the right place to go to. It's like a temporary redirect. Oh, so you can have a temporary redirect here, 307. We could do bad requests. So let's do 400. So the request could not, it's like the server could not understand a request due to invalid syntax. Perfect. All right, so we'll send back 400 on our code here. So 400. and we will send back a JSON object, and then that JSON object. Since we have, oh, you know what? We got to do, oh, that would have been bad. So we don't want that. We want this to do, we don't want to assign that to the object, to the OBG variable. We actually still want that to be request.body. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. So essentially, if validate JSON, go from here, and then it should return and exit the loop here, right? So it shouldn't execute anything else. Actually, yeah, it shouldn't execute anything else. And we'll leave this if statement because it should just return and not execute anything else. And we'll test that here just to make sure I'm saying the right stuff here. So we'll do status. And our status, my favorite status code, is either success or the word success or the word failure. And then we'll do message, and then invalid JSON object, right? So then now I know it's an invalid JSON object on the front end. So then with that, let's see if this actually works. All right, and then we have account and account type. Oh yeah, we got to change that because we don't want that. Because we don't need, we're not doing anything based off of account type at all. I just don't think we really need it to be honest with this stuff. Oh, send. All right. So since this is a variable, we do not have to encapsulate it in any type of string or any type of quotes, single or double. And it's not an object, so we can just send back, or it is an object, but that object is actually referenced here, right? So boom, once it's that. And we're only putting in this res send because I think it's going to give us an error for having two different sends because you can't send after another send. It'll give you that error, and you'll see that here in a second. But let's get this done. Account entry, oops, account, and we'll send. All right, so is not defined. Oh crap, yeah. And where is that defined? That is defined in our core function or our core file. It's kind of nice. Like it gives us everything here, which is all right, which I don't totally want. I'd rather it send us a failure of some sort, but I can't, I didn't catch for that. So if anything, what I can do, so instead of it sending me all of that, I can do try. And again, see, this is why I say it's not like my first thing that I do. It's like not default for me. And then I could do a catch. And then I can just be a little bit more graceful. And then I can do like console.log, whatever E is. And then like res send. Actually, do this one here. We don't need that one because we know that'll fail. Status failure. You got issues, bruh. And then I'll add another one here, or another JSON, or another key value pair. And this one will be error. And no. Let's just do it here. Oh crap. And then oh no, E. All right, so it'll send status failure, and then the message will be E, which will resolve to whatever that error was, which should be this first one here. Again, a little bit more graceful. If there's an issue, like this is like almost like a catch-all for all issues. So that's another thing. Again, I'm trying to just do new programming or do better things when it comes to my programming to where it always gives you a graceful output of some sort. So I'll console log this to the back end, but then the front end will get this. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, failure invalid JSON. All right, so cannot set headers after sent to client. And it's doing this off of what's line? Line number 12. So what is line number 12, guys? That's wrong. That's line number 12. Okay, I don't know why I did that. Oh, it did that because of the error. But it's invalid JSON, but it should do it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that, because it's like error sent. I want to say it's doing it before this. Now let's look a little bit closer at our error here. Because I'm wondering, right? You see, like, cannot send headers after error sent, but it already sent this, which is normal. This is what we want. That's not, or it doesn't consider this as valid JSON, which kind of scares me because it is valid JSON. Invalid JSON object. Yeah, why is this chopped off too? Oof, we got problems. Yeah, like why is that actually chopped off? Beautify. Yeah, you see how this is chopped off? That's not good. Now, I can only think it's chopped off because I'm doing the second res send. So let's take that out. Yeah. And it actually gives me an okay as well. I don't like that. So it gives me my status is okay, and we don't want that because it's not actually okay. It's like bad. So let's see here. All right, cool. That looks better. So that could just be an issue with rendering. But why is this considered this a bad JSON object? Is it really? I didn't get any backend errors, so that's good because I could have actually done something with my backend error here. And it gave me an output here because I console logged for it, right? So let's go play this back a little bit. Take this console log out. This, I don't want to return res send. I don't think you can really. We'll try that. We'll see. All right, so it's not a rendering error in terms of like when it gets this information, it's erroring out and then having this information show. So that's just take that out. It's not working how I want it to in terms of like I want it to actually tell me what's going on, like console, like I can console log it. So I can actually still do that. It's just that's just a bad way of doing it. Or writing that, you're not gonna do two different res sends because it thinks that it's actually over. But I don't know if I do a return res send. That doesn't sound right. Doesn't feel right. Huh? Okay, I guess I can. And then this is just me testing how all this works. Because after a return, it shouldn't even touch this. So let's see. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so let's see if there's a problem here. No, it returns it invalid JSON object. So the only thing I worry about also, or then what I worry about is this here, JSON parse, whatever the object is. So what does that object look like to the back end? Right, so it's, because like, why is that invalid JSON? So let's go ahead and look at that. So we're going to do that. We know that this works. If we do a return res send, that's fine. Sometimes when you write in this code, it starts to test your own knowledge, which is another reason why I started this stream, not just to help you guys out, but or help out anybody that's listening, but really to help out myself and make myself, do more in terms of coding and get back into it. especially on like, outside of work. Because, you do so much work for other people that one day you'll find out that you haven't done any work for yourself. And I think that's really sad, especially as a former business owner. I had fun doing it, built great relationships with my business partners, long-lasting relationships. And it's just sad that you're not able to, no, you're no longer able to experience that because you're just working for somebody else, and then you have to kind of like move to be to their drum. And it's like, where's the freedom in that? Where's the freedom that we strive, that we long for, we strive for, we struggle for, when we're, doing all these things and working for this paycheck? Like, where is that at the end of it all? So you really got to do something for yourself, and that's one of the biggest things is make sure you're doing something for yourself, guys. All right, so motivational speech over. Um, let's see what this produces. Yeah, I mean, that looks like valid JSON to me. But you see how it says, like, you see how this test, it takes out the key name? I wonder if it's because of this character. Oh. So one thing we can do, we can take our body and we can do JSON dot string. And I never have this problem, but this is something that I actually had to deal with recently. And JSON dot stringify. Yeah, that should, but it's not giving us anything back. Oh, but you see how now it has a double quotes in there, but now we're having issues with getting a return. Now, why is that? Validate JSON. And we do this here. Sending request. So let's do that one more again. So it's not like, oh, right. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense, right? Because it is valid JSON. So now it's moved past that point. So now what's next? And that's kind of what it's waiting for. It's waiting for a response. So there we go. We're going to do, and then, actually, no, we're going to, all right, so we're going to do this here. Hopefully I didn't replay that too far back. Res send status 200. Hey, we can work with this. Oh. Oh, great. All right, so we replayed a little bit too far and did a couple other things. So stringify. All right, sorry. All right, so yeah, sorry, I was thinking about something, guys. I apologize. So now, if it's invalid JSON, then it just doesn't go forward. Now taking that apart, now we should be good. Boom. So it just returns our JSON object. Now I'm thinking that I just don't understand why it didn't escape this. Like, why is this not considered valid JSON here? That kind of JSON. And you see the text highlighting changes there. If it's not valid, whatever that type is, you just have to switch it to JSON, and it will be valid. So yeah, I don't know why it's not doing that. And I'm not sure if it's because of this. Like, why do we have to have stringify in front of it? Anyways, we'll keep it as is because we should still be able to access certain values within that string. So even if we do this and I can have it return, oh, yeah, see right there? It has that unexpected token in there. Expected token in JSON position 24. Now, Object is stringified. And a part of that, I want it. Listen, I am telling you, it's because I have to do JSON.parse. Oh, this is why it's just like, this is weird. JSON.parse, it's the JSON object, and then the status 200. So that should be it right there. Ugh. Why is that like that? Yeah, okay. I guess I don't have to escape it. Weird on my part. All right, cool. So JSON.parse, object.test. Let's make sure we get the value here. What? See, now I can't get object.test. See, this is the part that I find weird. And it's most likely because of the string. Like, if I take out the JSON, if I take out the stringify portion of it, so what I probably have to do is stringify it to validate it. Right, valid, invalid JSON. So we'll add it here, JSON, because I want to be able to actually like use it. So stringify. Right, boom. So let object request body stringify, and then now I can still, like, if it's valid or considered or it passes this check here, then I can still go at it because I didn't have to stringify it in the first place, because I have to parse it after I stringify it. And that's like when you're writing to and from files and things like that. Me personally, I'm not used to that, but for validation purposes, it's fine to just do it right there. In fact, what I will do, so I don't have to do that every time, I'll just add that part of the core function. JSON.parse, JSON.parse, and then we'll do let O equal. All right, so stringify obj, and then O. All right, so catch E, good. And as you can see, like with using the catch block here, or using try catch, excuse me, even if no matter what E is, or if it gets to a catch, I don't actually have to address or use that error that's passed. As long as it catches an error, return false. So boom, that should be good. And I've abstracted away using that, JSON.stringify and everything else like that. It handles it all within the function. So I don't have to do anything special at this level. And again, as you can see, less characters, a little bit simpler code. It's not nested into a whole bunch of parentheses or anything like that, or modifiers. All right, great. Boom. There we go. So it returns everything that we need and works as I expect it to work. So, well, that's a plus. So now we've exhausted that portion of it. We've added a JSON validator, and now it sends information back to the front end. So we've added somewhat of a little check there, and then before it checks any, or before it goes any further, it goes ahead and it goes forward and makes sure that everything looks good. So on my other window, I'm going to get some code over here. Actually, no, I think I have this code in another file. So let's go ahead, and what we can do is we can do Control R for read, and then we can actually tab. Yeah, there we go. So if you do Control R and then just do tab, it'll give you a list of files that you can work out of. Currently, it shows us as in the main directory for the package. So I can go to server, and then I can do controller, and then I can do, I think it's API user. There we go. So I can like tab and right, and I can see all the files that I have in here available to me. This SWP file is just a swap file. Because I'm working in this file itself. And then in this case, I can choose U and then tab that and then read that into our file here. So what I did is I did that just so I can bring in this information here because kind of already have some of this stuff done. All right, so what we're gonna do, yeah, we're gonna take out, we don't need, we do need validation. So we're gonna need our validation stuff. We're gonna need our core stuff. Our system var, I don't think we need anything from that. So we will eventually need passport so we can actually do authentication. And then we're going to do account. And then we're going to import our account model. Again, that was in the last video where I went over the different schemas. That was in the schema. I have such great names for these broadcasts here. I know you guys enjoy them. But so that was for schema. And in that, I went over the different schemas and we touched on it earlier on. So now we're going to look at this and we'll do res.send object.test. Now, I don't want to get rid of this. I just don't need it, and I won't need it in that fashion. I will be doing, as you can see, I have my variable here. This is all commented out. And actually, what we will do is an async anonymous function here, because we're going to need that. And let's widen this out a little bit. You don't need that other stuff. So this is for like a user endpoint, and I won't be doing any registration keys, so I don't need any of that. If email exists, so I can do all my different checks here. User find one. So what this did is that this is for the register endpoint for a user, and then from here, I would do all my different checks beforehand. So validate the input. So you can see the registration, validation. In this case, let's make sure that we have our validation in place. All right, so with our validation, we have our account entry validation. We need account name, account type, brokerage, and balance. Now our brokerage, we can see here that we have a pattern that we have to adhere to. So for instance, if there's an issue with that pattern, then it will invalidate and send us our message here that we have defined, or it can send us a default message, however it sees fit. But I define these messages as I need them, or as I want them, I should say. So here, all right, so in this case, let's copy and paste if error. All right, cool. So what we're going to do is just validate our input, and it will send us back some info here. Actually, yeah, I could just take this all out. Sometimes it's hard to go back to like old code because you got to remember what the hell you even did. All right, cool. Everything's spaced and integrated there. So if valid JSON, and this is kind of like a good thing, right, to go over. Like we're just going through all the different validations that you actually have to do. In this case, this little if statement for the validation is going to be a little bit bigger. So it's going to do a little bit more. So in this case, I do my status before I do my send, but it's all good. It works all the same. With my validations, I do abort early equals false. So it checks every bit of the entry and tells me all the problems that I have with it, and then returns all of that information for me. In this case, I have it doing a little bit of putting a little bit of HTML in there for me, and then I render that HTML. But what we can do is actually have this message. we can have this message here not be a string. It can be an array. I think that'll be a little bit cleaner. I know there's a reason I did it in the first place, but maybe I'll discover why I did that. I just now I would just probably put it as an array because then I can manipulate and do other things with arrays as I see fit. So here it'll be e.message, and I'll push that onto the array, and then it'll define it. I define an empty array first, and then go through each bit of the error that comes out. That error, when it does this validation step, it actually has a couple sections. One of the sections is .details, and then, or one of the keys is details, and that details is actually an array. And I'm cycling through that array here and pushing every element that's within there onto this empty array here. So going through that kind of filters everything, or only what I need out of it. So that'll give me like my different messages here with account names and stuff like that. And then I'll do a status 400. And I just don't like the status there anymore. So I'll do send status 400. And that should be good. And I stick with the same paradigm of having my status and message field. All right, so that's that. That should give us an error here. I don't think I need to do an asynchronous await call or anything like that. It should handle it pretty quickly. Not quickly, but it handles it right then and there. And then I can go from there. All right, so, oh, nope. What does that say? Router has already been declared. Yeah, okay, that's why. I always check with my backend here. I guess it didn't take the save. Whoa. Wait, what? Oh, okay, this here. There we go. That's what happens when you integrate new code or old code. All right, cool. So that should be good. My backend is clean. All right, so let's see. Great, perfect. So now it returns a status of failure and then gives us our message as an array. Oh, and okay, that's why. I want my message. Yeah, that's see, I knew it would get me sooner or later. I want my message as what's it called? As a string. And that's why I did that instead of an array. Because if I always have my message as a string, then I don't have to validate or check if the message is a valid array or not. So let's just go ahead and revert that. All right, we could just do this and then replay all our issues there and fix those and make this a string. Yeah, so, and then all right, so plus equals okay, message, this is message. All right, cool. So now when I do this, so the reason why I do this is because when I actually put this in there and it comes in as a message, then it already has all my breaks for me when I actually have to put it on the front end in terms of like returning an issue or anything like that. But we can see that the validation or the Joy validation library is working for us. Essentially, we have our schema, and then which we're not even using right now, but we have our validation schema at least. And then with our validation schema, we can set all the different things that we would require in this. So it says, username and all that other stuff. So we can actually take that out. But why does it say username? Yeah, username is required. Email is required. All those things. So I don't know. Oh, I know why. It's because it still says register. I need this validator. I need the account entry validation. There we go. So now this should give me, there we go. So account name is required, account type is required, brokerage is required, and test is not allowed, right? So we can see that, hey, test is not allowed in terms of a key, a valid key value, or a valid key type here. All right, so we have our validations in place. You know, we just copy and pasted that code, a little forklift move there. And now we have our validations in place. And as you can see, it returns our res send, and it doesn't need to do this one here. We keep it in place though for now. All right, so let's move on to the next section. We don't need a registration key because we will be doing validation on this. And in this case, we're going to check if account exists. So we can see here, if user exists, in this case, we won't be doing the username. We'll be doing a couple things out of the account name. So, and then we'll be checking for passwords as well. All right, cool. So let's do that. Now, even though I'm like reusing code, I know this code works, but we do have to make small changes to it. So const user exists, we'll do account exists. And then account exists, and then we'll do account. All right, and then we will base that off of account name. So if we already have a duplicate account name, we don't want it, right? And then if anything, I probably want to do it off of like 2 criteria. So like I can probably have, like, you know, you have to think about the different permutations or combinations actually of data or of your account entries, right? Like, so I can have an M1 Finance account, but it can also be like the same name. Like, for instance, if I wanted to name it M1 Finance, right? But with M1 Finance, I have 3 different types of accounts. So I have M1 Finance. I also have M1 Finance. I have 3 different accounts with the M1 Finance. One is my retirement account for my Roth IRA. The second is my my passive income portfolio or my general investing portfolio. And then the third one is my checking account with them, right? So it's just like, okay, that's 1, 2, and 3 in terms of our account types, and possibly even more. So I can't just do it by if the account name exists. Like, that's just not going to work. And I'm probably going to have to do it all in one fell swoop here, and say, okay, if account name and this, you know, like if it meets all these different conditions. So I'll have to do, if account exists, I'll have to do, I probably should take out this, right? And let's see if this works the way I expect it, because that makes me think, you know, I might have to go back to my old code. Send dot send. That's why I did the status first. Did you send status? Send status. All right, so send, and I gotta fix these too. Send status. Okay. All right, so username exists. And just kind of be like a little bit more, especially when I'm pushing out my failures and everything like that, in terms of what's the issue, what is the background, what is the backend finding, wanting to make sure that I'm giving you the proper error. Like, okay, hey, we already found a matching account for that. You don't need it. Get out of here. And I want to make sure that it does all the proper checks. So account name, and then it's going to look for account name in the object, because that's just going to be a key in the object. I should be able to also look for other stuff, because essentially this is an object here that I'm passing to the backend. So I want my account type. And I don't know why I would have this, but like maybe I'll check for brokerage. So if it matches, account name, type, and brokerage, and they're all three the same, then we have a problem. But if there is any other combinations of that, or that combination is not found in the database, then we can go ahead and go from there. So account type, account name, account type, and then we'll do object dot account type. And then we'll do also brokerage. And then we'll do object dot brokerage. All right. So it goes through our validation, make sure everything is there, or make sure what we expect to be there is there. All right, cool. And then now it's actually going to check the database before it writes anything to the database. It's going to actually check the database to see if that account is there. So if it exists, then it'll say something. But in this case, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually say if it doesn't exist, because I want to see what this does, right? Because I want this to return a failure for us, and I don't want it to return a status. Oh, if it returns a status, okay. Yeah. So actually, no. If it exists, yeah. If it exists, send it to us. Send us a failure. If it doesn't exist, send us a failure. Good. All right, cool. That's what I want. That's what I want. I swear. All right. Backend reports everything is good. Let's go ahead and send that sucker. All right. So we have an issue here, of course, right? So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and put some data in there. Just gonna do this in Notepad++. It's a little bit. No, I think it'd be okay to do it in here as well. We need 3 things. Actually, no, we need 4 things. We need 4 things. We need our balance to match, or we need our balance to actually be there. We need a non-negative balance, or we need a balance period. So let's do balance first. What the deuce? Oh, just type it, I guess. I refuse. All right, cool. Account name, test account, and then we're gonna do account type, and we're gonna do retire. All right, so we're purposely gonna do that wrong, because I want to check that this validator is actually working. Our brokerage, because it should tell us what the problems are down there. So make sure our validator is working, make sure our regular expression is working properly. Because I did try, what I'm doing here is using the caret symbol here and the $ symbol to have an exact match. By what's it called? Using those 2 symbols as the bookends for the string. That way it says it's an exact match for that. All right, so brokerage, tire, brokerage. Oh, so my brokerage will be like M1, and okay, and then balance. And we'll put like we'll do like 0, negative, like we'll do like 0 or something, right? Yeah, we'll do 0, because I know you can actually have a string like this, because that's considered a string because of the dot. But we'll just do 0 for now and see what happens, because I can actually change that, and I'll probably look that up here in a little bit. So let's see what it does. Unexpected end of, oh, okay. So that's not valid JSON. Why? Because I have that there. All right, cool. So account type selection invalid, brokerage selection invalid. Right, sweet. So we have retire. So I'll do retirement, and then I'll do M1 finance. Matching account already exists. Hey, there we go. All right, so all our validations are working as we expect. And just because I looked through the database, and essentially it's saying, if it does exist, then if it doesn't, so it's like, essentially I said account exists. So if it finds it, then it's okay. Essentially, it's saying that, hey, listen, it's empty. I wanted to do that. That I'm confusing myself, but I know essentially what I'm saying. Account exists, so it's going to try and find it, and if it cannot find it, then it's still going to return this error. But it would have returned this error if it did find it. So I just did the opposite of it, just so I could test that the what's it called, this find is working properly. So now this find is working properly. So essentially what's happening here is we're calling the account model schema in our schemas file, right? And this is how the Mongoose database works, or the Mongoose driver for MongoDB, or the Mongoose Node.js module for MongoDB as a driver works, is that you define a schema, and you don't have to do this. You can loosely do this if you wanted to, but in this case, I define a schema, and based off of that schema, then it actually starts to do my searches and everything else for me as well. Or that's how I initiate doing a search. And all that stuff is defined in my schema file in terms of what database collection it's looking at, what database it's looking at, or the URL for the database collection name, and then whatever that data is for the schema. So then and then we're going to call it here in a second to actually save something to the database. So in this case, I am not going to make a user account, right? So I'm actually just going to be using an object. So in this case, user object and new user. And as you can see here, I already defined user. So this will be account. So account. Let's actually get this here. All right, cool. And let's bring this from darkness to light. Now I want to say I won't do the save method right now. So we'll just go ahead and do a multi-line comment here. I just want to see what happens to that and how that looks. So you see how it has the user object here? All right. Account object, new account, and let's do it like this. So we're going to take our the object that's passed to us, or passed to the backend. We're going to do this lazily, by the way. Whoa, I didn't know what I just did. That was kind of cool. Wait, did I? Okay, why? Wait, oh, no. It's cool, like, you find, like, new keys, but then you mess up, and it's like, okay, enter line or column number. Oh, okay, that's cool. So I could do Alt-G. Smart home key disabled. Weird, okay. I don't know what I just did. I collapsed this whole entire thing to, like, one line. All right, anyways, I don't need that. Oh, that's probably what I did. No. Cut to end disabled. Yeah, and take that out. All right, so in this case, I don't have to do this. I can do more checks and things like that, but I don't need to. This will come from the base object. All right, so brokerage and object dot balance. All right, so in this case, you see how it has this user ID, this hash and salt? Well, I mean, that'll be for the user endpoint, but for the most part, it will default if I don't put anything in it. So, it's calling on my schema, and let's go back to what our schema looks like. It's calling on my schema, and my schema has a couple requirements. It also has a couple requirements, and then it has some defaults as well. So with those defaults, I'll put those in there, or that should be entered in manually, right? So yeah, so good. Let's go back to that. So I should not have to put those here, is the point. And then what I'm going to do is console.log account object. And then I'm going to, since it should return, because there's nothing found, I'm still going to do a res send. And in this case, I'm going to send back the account object. And I'm only doing that, or I'm mainly doing that because I want to see what it looks like. So actually, I don't have to console log it. Yeah, that'd be better. Get tired of console log. I want it to do something that's meaningful. All right, so we'll send that, and we should get back. Boom, there we go. So we see the ID, and I don't want the ID per se, but we do have our account UUID set, and we have our timestamp, which is date now, which I don't like. Yeah, I don't want that date now. Wait, is it timestamp? Yeah, timestamp. Is that a bad thing now? Oh, that actually might be okay. No, that is a bad thing. That is a very, very bad thing. I like my dates to be an epoch. Oh, what is it, man? Oh, the new date? No. Yeah, that's not right. Okay, so then if I do 3 and then I do history, Mongo, grep Mongo. Did I do anything in here? Give me a sec. Let me find out. I forgot what the string is to do this. History, grep Mongo. There we go. So if you want to connect to Mongo and you don't have a valid cert in place, which is not too much of an excuse for, well, my only excuse is that it's a test box, but you can on, if it's like a publicly, or if it's a server that's accessed publicly and you can actually, get to it via, HTTP or something like that, you can use certbot and validate it if you have all your DNS and everything in place. So you can use certbot for stuff like that. Um, error connecting to refused. Why are you refused? Why do you refuse me? And that's actually wrong anyway, because my port from Mongo is different. Yeah, so that is in my nano server core file JS, and then this would be my connection string here. Great. MongoDB. Where? Okay, wait. History. I just don't do this stuff enough, and it hurts me in the long run. Should have at least a cheat sheet for this. That'd be nice. 0. Get out of that. History. Grep Mongo. Great. Nothing. What were PM2 logs? FG foreground. All right, resident status. And also, I mean, I'll never get this stuff. For the most part, I should never get this ID or anything like that, so I'm not too worried about that. Like, because this, like, when it writes it, it's going to make this ID for me, or make that ID and put it in the database. But I should never really get that in this case. But if I do a get, then I'll get that ID and I'll go ahead and delete it from the output before I send it off. So I'll do like a pre-processing step or a post-processing step that will delete that from my output or anything like that, just so I don't get that ID. And I don't want people to, there's like information I just don't want people to know about my backend. So having an ID, I don't know how would it cause an issue, but you got to be kind of like security conscious. All right, cool. Yeah, I think I gotta do this. Yeah, there it is. All right, cool. So I can do DBS for DBs or show DBS, right? So I'll show my DBs. In this case, I have test. Why do I have test? I should have a DB. Oh, yeah, I haven't. Okay, perfect. It hasn't written anything because it doesn't save anything. Once I actually do this, in terms of saving this information, then it should write everything for me. All right, cool. So let's get that done. We'll take out this here, this res send, but it's doing what I expected to. It's getting, oh, the only thing I don't like is my timestamps. So let's make our timestamps a little something a little different. How can we get epoch timestamps? I could do number 2 and then date. Now, I don't think that'll do anything now. Yeah, it shouldn't do that. Why isn't date dot now? Oof. Oh man, this is like one of those things I forget. If Google wasn't around, Google's like literally another part of my brain. Just because it's like date. Oh wow, this is cool. I'm drifting. Date dot now. Yeah, Google's like another part of my brain because it's like I will forget so much stuff. JS date dot now. I know what I'm looking for, but I'll forget all types of stuff. Starting. Yeah, I wrote it right. Release. Yeah, see, I mean, I got that right. I got that right. All right, so what are we doing here? Sorry, another brain fart there. But yeah, so I got date.now and I got that there. I don't know why it's converting that date in that manner. Epoch. I think you can like get UTC date. And that's kind of, well, it's not giving me that, but it's giving me, damn it, get seconds. Oh man, get date. Get milliseconds. Set milliseconds. I don't want to do that. Get UTC day. Darn it, man. Get time. Nah. Bro, that really should just work like that. That's freaking pissing me off. And the thing is, I don't want to call this right at that time. Like, it's just not. Sorry, you can't call it within that file because when it runs, it's always going to give you the same date. I need it to give me the date at when it was executed. Yeah, I'll just have to do required true. I'll do required true on this one, and I'll set it. I'll set it at the that execution, and then I can modify it from there. Probably even use a what's it called? Assign it to a variable, and then go from there. I hate when that doesn't work. Sometimes I'm just stubborn about that stuff. What is that? Timestamp? Timestampy? Date.now. And then make sure it's valid JSON. Good. All right. And then yeah, same thing. All right, that's fine. I think I have to do let time stamp equals new. No, that's not even right. Date dot not. Is it just date? Damn it. If it's freaking just date, man. If it's freaking just date, I'm gonna be pissed. So much syntax. So much syntax in the LBC. Date. What? Why doesn't it return that? Let's see here. Oh. Yeah, I think I get it. Great. Okay. I think I get it. Console.log. Let's see if I'm right here. Because I have a feeling that this is actually doing what it's supposed to. It's just the schema thing is doing me dirty here. So date.now. And let's look at our backend. Yeah, that's what I thought. There we go. The problem is that this is type date. So I should do type number. Yeah, or capital N for number. And then that should do everything for me. Like I shouldn't have to do this. So I should default for me. And I shouldn't have to do this either, so. And yeah. Boom, there we go. Yeah, so it's just type number. All right, glad I figured that out because that was annoying the living crap out of me. All right, so I shouldn't have to put anything in here. It'll default all that for me here. Everything else looks good. As I said, I won't worry about the ID because that's the backend ID or the object ID in the database. And now we should be able to write our stuff to our database. And we don't need this res send here. Now we should be doing account save, then account status, account has been successfully created, failure, and then our message. And you can see, as I said, message, I always try to keep it as a string. I don't try to give it another data type, because then that's just more stuff I have to do on the front end and deal with. Failure, message status 400. Cool. So the only thing about that, oh no, that's okay, that's fine. All right, that's nested properly. All right, cool. Then account. Yeah, I don't even do anything with account here, but I still have to pass something, I think, with a Venable. I'm definitely not consistent with like using E or error. You know, it's like I'm totally not consistent with that. Like, see how I have error spelled out there. That's definitely something I do want to become consistent with. In fact, I'll use error because I use E for element in my for each, and it's just definitely, it's mostly because I just don't use this, so I'll just default to error for that. Oh, and let's do send status. All right, cool. Send status. That's good. I think, yeah. Just checking old code here. So, new, I don't know how you would say this. Define object to be saved. All right, and save object. All right, cool. So that'll give me my breaks here. All right, hey man, that's looking pretty. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so that's still connected. Oh, okay, yeah, I got it. All right, boom. So now it should just send us back that it created it. Account has been successfully created. You may have forgotten to catch a promise. Cannot set headers after they have already been sent to client. So now I should. What? Why isn't it showing it? I should have a DB that has stuff in it. Let me do use test show collections sessions user data account data. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know why it's doing that. Oof. My bad. Yeah, I know why it's doing that. Let's do number 2. And server index.js. And there should be a test here somewhere. So also, why did sessions? I don't like it storing it as sessions. DB session collection. Yeah, so we needed to find that as well. Nano server, CD opt server. These are the things I gotta like account for. Oh, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. So these are things that I'm just clean this up, and we'll just do a get in the next stream, or maybe we'll do it There's nobody. Yeah, there's somebody watching. Hey, look at that. But yeah, so these are things that we have to account for and then put in the boilerplate script in terms of like, okay, you got to change this here, you got to change this here, you got to change this here, so people know what to do or have it already set for them. All right, so it sucks when you spend so much time on that thing and it's just like still imperfect. DB user collection. Yeah, see, look at that. DB session collection, and then session data, user collection, account collection, and then project name. DB name should be fat, so I don't know why I did that. DB name should be the same as a project name, so that should be good. Unexpected string. Why is that unexpected? Oh, there we go. Comma, chameleon. So session data collection should be there. What I'll also do is it number 4? Let me just do this nano server. Let me get this out of here. I'll probably do like the user data too, if it's not there already. All right, cool. Nano, Node.js boilerplate, and then our script here. No, this is in our static files. And do our core.js, insertion point. I think because I don't think there's anything before it. Yeah, that should be fine. So we should always have user collection and session data collection, or a data collection, right, for our sessions and our user data, because most of our apps are going to have it. And if it doesn't matter, because it's just not going to be used. And then that makes me want to see what's happening in this for our insertion point. And so we can see here project name, and it doesn't have anything after that. So what I'm checking for is a trailing comma. So it doesn't. So that's fine. That's fine that it doesn't have a trailing comma. All right, cool. Excuse me. All right, so now I can go to what window is that in? All right, so Mongoose connection. So it still shows as test though. I don't know why it shows as test. We get our token secret that's created. Session store, because that's set here for the collection, I believe. All right, and then you can erase that other database when necessary, but we'll keep it just to make sure everything looks good. In fact, we can actually, since everything's in here, we can do db.accountData find, and then just like that. DB. There we go. And then we'll do .pretty. So when you want to actually like look up anything in MongoDB, you can do find and nothing in here, because you can actually pass it an object. And then when you do a find for that object, you can do a find, which will find just any as many as it can. And then you can do a find passing in an object, and then that'll filter what you're doing it. So you can do filter by account name or something like that, or account type. So I can get everything that is a retirement account type, and it'll show it to me. And then you can do .pretty or another function, so you can extend that a little bit. And then you'll have .pretty, and then .pretty essentially is what is .pretty? .pretty. with .pretty. Oh yeah, it makes it look pretty. So that makes it look like this, or look like this here. And there's some other stuff that's like written to it, and this is done by Mongoose. So as you can see here, I have my account ID, my timestamp the way I want it, and then account name, type, brokerage, and all that other stuff. So everything's good. Now let's actually test this, because it's like, all right, cool, we did all that, and let's see if I can screw it up. Nope, can't screw it up, because guess what? Selection is invalid for a brokerage, because M1 Finances doesn't exist. It has to match exactly M1 Finance. All right, so that's good. Let's go ahead and quickly, I see that there's an error here, and I don't understand it. Let's see if it, all right, matching account already exists. All right, that's good, because then now it's like, let's do checking. All right, so test account checking. All right, so it's successfully created, but I'm still having this issue here. So let's go ahead and try and fix that there. It's on 1. And this is telling me it is own. Set. Unhandled restriction, catch a promise. Error set after the set. Client's already set header. What am I now? It's probably because I rearranged the send status. It's like, yeah, I think it's because I'm like, I wanted to, that's why I freaking did it. I hate when like I try to quote unquote correct something and it was fine and it was actually written the right way in the first place, but I haven't looked at it so damn long. So that's entry line number 37. 737. So res send status is exactly what it freaking is. Freaking wretched. Trying to fix something that's already freaking fine. Account has been successfully created. But what error am I catching from that though? That's crazy. Oh, I guess because I'm sending it after the fact, and that's the error. Which happens in silence, I guess. Status 200. Status. Let's go back and fix all of these that I thought I was fixing. I hate this. Just gotta get better, man. That's all it is. That's what this is all about, you know, like those that are watching, you guys can see it where these mistakes actually happen live and how I'm fixing them, how I'm looking at them, troubleshooting them. So it helps you all, I hope, kind of figure it out. All right, cool. Let's reorganize all of these. So we send the status first, and then we can send all the data. Status. Status. 500. Ooh. What if it was like an error code 700? Probably like secret government error codes. And then why is that? Bro, I'm telling you. I think what it is like you have to send status. If you have to use send status if you're just sending a status only. But I want to send an actual status message along with a body to it. So I have to do it in this order. What it extra token? Where is it? Stop going all over the place. Okay, cool. So it's done. Routes. Index. Status 34. Yeah, there it is. It was in front of you the whole time. Sweet. Matching account already exists. All right, great. So now we can go to terminal 3. Here we go. And then do pretty. So it has this network connection error because even though we're in the terminal, when we write a file, the server restarts and kills our connection to the database. So that's normal. That's fine. But we can say that we have like multiple accounts with the same name, but it doesn't have the same account type. And I think that's so fine. I mean, for me, that's okay. I can separate them, right? And then have different account names and stuff like that. But maybe I want them under like one account. In this case, I'm okay with this. If it was kind of like the original example where it had a check for if the user exists or if the email exists, it checks those at different. It checks those. It has two different checks or separate checks for them. So if it passes the first, it won't pass the second. So that's why that's done. But in this case, I'm okay with having all of this stuff um, the same name for the account name. I'm okay with that. Just in case you have like Chase Bank or something like that, you want to do something with that, like that could be your thing for your account name, could be Chase Bank. I'm sure there's people that will have different ways of their wanting to put it, but for me, this is good. But yeah, so I mean, we already have, a lot of our stuff in terms of our failures, our message, all that is there. So like, I'm really happy about that. So we can see how this has already grown, and then we can add authentication to this later as well. Excuse me, which would be this right here. So if user exists, we can actually authenticate to make sure, and this is like the login endpoint, but we can authenticate to make sure that you know, you send me the password along with this, and everything is signed. And that gets into password protecting certain areas. So we will be password protecting this account entry point because we don't want anything in the database that, we didn't put there or we didn't want to put there. So let's go ahead and do a find, and we'll close out our session for tonight. So let's go ahead and do a get. We'll pretty much copy most of this. Yeah, we'll copy this. And in this case, the reason why we'll copy it, because we can do get, and then yeah. I mean, so this is our entry, right? So we can do something where we get all accounts if we wanted to. We can do something where we can get like checking accounts. So we can do get entry account, and then we'll do like all or something like that. So we'll do get all entries for accounts. So all. All right. So if we wanted to do like all of the entries, we'll get it this way. Yeah, we'll keep it this way for now, but I am going to change that. I'm just thinking about it. Like how would I change this? So for instance, this, I don't need to validate JSON. I can also make this a post if I wanted to, just so I can say, okay, send me a body of everything that you're expecting. But in this case, I'll just do a straight up query to the endpoint. But I will have to, this will also be an authenticated endpoint eventually. So I will not validate JSON. I will check if the accounts or, yeah, so get accounts. Get accounts. So await account find. I'll do find, not find one. And then I will get everything that's in the account. So I don't have to pass. You see how I passed in brokerage, object brokerage? I don't have to pass in all of that. I should just be able to do it like that. And it'll do it per the schema too. So it's like get account find. And it should find that in that document. Or it should, hold on, I'm playing this. Actually, I'm thinking about this. I haven't done this before. Status failure. No matching accounts exist. I think it's being grammatically correct because accounts exist or account exists. All right, cool. We'll just take that out. All right, so account exists, and then define object to be saved. I don't need to define an object because I'm just looking for one, and I don't even need to do this here. Right, and then if it's successful, I should do this. Yeah, so red status.send success message. See payload. Drill load. So we're going to see payload. I'm going to call the long guy tomorrow. So payload, and then the payload would be get account. Oh, I see a problem here already. So get account won't be defined. Get account result. I'd like to add a result to that. Kind of defining my own standard practices here. And then in this case, what I'll do is just to be consistent, I'm expecting that payload to be an array. There we go. So payload, and make that an array. All right, cool. So C payload. If it exists, C payload, else catch error. Payload. Ooh, send. Oh no. Oof. That's not where I wanted payload or payload in as an empty array. But that's fine. I can actually have it there too, for this endpoint at least. Excuse me. All right, cool. So accounts all. All right, guys, this will be the last thing for the night. I got to do my workout and then get ready for the day tomorrow. Duplicate tab. We're going to do a get and then account all. All right, let's see what it does. No matching accounts exist. Okay. So how do I retrieve? And it's fine. I mean, it did what we expect. Oh, okay. Exists. So there we go. If there's no result. But that's fine though. It does what we expected to there at least. Just not when we expected to. There we go. Boom. And then our payload, we have our payload here. Now what we will do, as I said, we'll have like a preprocessor, if you will. We can make this a function, but we'll do for each, and then pass that a function. So for each element in this array, and I always pass E for element, which is the item that is processing within the array, and then I for index, so I can actually use it if I ever need to, like for instance, on the last item in the array, do this. But in this case, I'm going to do delete, and then I'm going to delete E dot underscore ID, because I don't want the ID, and then I also don't want this V thing here. V. because that's Mongoose that does that. All right, and then the account UUID is fine for now. But yeah, let's do that. You embarrassed me. I can't believe you. All right, so why is it doing that? Let's do it after this. Let's processed result processed. All right, and then proper case in there. Proper case. Process get account result. C payload. All right, I guess there's no payload. Let's do an await. Await. I think it's just, I probably just have to do this as a function. Actually, I could probably do a map. Oof, yes, yes. Use map. All right, so it should do this across every item in that array and then do it for me. Darn it. It's just because I'm awaiting it. Like I really gotta get better with like when to use await and stuff like that. Oh man, process. Do we use every? Because if you do a map, it should return a new array. False. Okay. For each, and then wait. No, wait. No, I shouldn't. I know I'm not doing that right. Why is it always the last thing you do? It's like the hardest. All right. Let us think here. Now, the problem I'm having is that I need to transform everything about this array before I pass it along. I want to use a for each to make a change to it each time. But really, I should be using something like a map. Because a map should make changes to every element in this thing. C payload. Process result gives me nothing. Gives my nothing. So for each. All right, let's see here. Let's look at the documentation. Dot map. And should be array prototype map. All right, map is greater than 2. Index array callback function. Oh, see. Yeah, I'm trying to do this without doing a callback function, to be honest. Ooh, maybe I can do filter. Creates a new array with all the elements that pass word length greater than 6. Should I do a filter? Function and predict element index array. New array with the elements that pass the test. So I want to do this flat map formed by applying given callback function to each element of the array and then flattening the result one level. No, I don't need that. I almost want to do like entry. What was think? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be like a whole function. That's totally wrong. So for each console log element, see expected output. I use a for each so much, I just default to it. Callback function. I think it's going to be a map. Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's just, what we'll do is we'll write a function. We'll write a preprocessor. We'll call this, here we go. It's actually a post processor. I can spell it, post processor. And this is going to take array, and then in that the array is going to be array dot map. No, it's going to actually just do all these things here. All right, so array, and then we won't need to do all this other stuff here. So I won't need to do this, and I'll do post processor. Yeah. Yeah, that should be it. And then I will run map. So that should return my function, or that should return my everything here. Let's make sure that's right. All right, so I can do console log map one array.map, and then it does everything I needed to. And I don't have to pass everything. I can pass it just a function, callback function. All right, this arg. All right, good. Okay. Ready, go. That did nothing. E dot delete. But how can I? All right, so it's returning nothing. Callback function does take element and index. Okay, so I'm not passing it anything. That'd be it. All right, so I'm gonna pass it. Oh, okay. E.I. So I can do it like that, and it should automatically pass that without me having to do anything. Yeah, no, and no. So delete E.I. Console log E. I don't think that'll work for a map, but let's see here. No, it does. And it does it for each item in it too. E.ID. Now, is E, do I have to encapsulate it like this? So if you want, like, if it has like a weird variable name or something like that, or a key name, sometimes you have to use this syntax to actually access it. You can definitely use this syntax to define new items in a JSON object. No, that's not it. Why is... Yeah, why is it parse? I'm almost wondering, like, is it, am I not passing it anything? Post processor, E that I. Yeah. All right, post processor. Pass it. E and I. Just want to make sure. Nope. All right. All right, so in this case, for each, I might do like a for each, and then on the last one of the index, then it'll do whatever it needs to. All right, cool. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my for each here. Use that. It's like some things I just can never get, but that just means I need to practice more. So I'll do for each, and then I'll do my deletes. Comment those out just in case I need them again. Then I'll do, it should be an array. Yeah, it should be an array. So then I'll do if, it's like I'm getting tired of doing it like this too. I almost feel like there's like a better way of doing it. So if get account result dot length -1 equals I, then do what I always do. Then return. It's dumb. That's dumb. This is so dumb. No, this is so dumb. That's even wrong. Yeah, I mean that's just wrong. Period. But length.1 side. Oh, double equals nothing. Message error, C payload. What am I doing here? That's wrong. I want to delete that. I don't want that there. Don't give up. So what we do is no. So edit inline. Once I get this, I'm definitely going to have to remember how to do this. So I want to do this. I mean, I could do a function and do this, but I want something different. I'm thinking I should be able to do this here. I don't want to create a whole new array, because the easy way to get around this is create an empty array. But there's functions that are put in place that allow me to edit this array in place. So can I do a filter? Creates a new array with all elements that pass word.length. See, I could do filter. Right, like throw error res filter function if type of. See, I can do a whole filter, but I don't want to do a filter. You know what? No, you're gonna do a filter. All right, cool. Let's do a filter. My other self said we were gonna do a filter, so I'm gonna do a filter. So with doing the filter, we will filter, and then we'll have our function here. So what's it called? Yeah, well, let's read how that's done so we can learn something new here. So filter method creates a new array with all elements that pass the test implemented by the provided function. So if word.length is greater than 6, all right, cool. Function is a predicate to test each element in the array, return a value that coerces to true to keep the element or false if otherwise. Okay, so I could do if statements in that to make that happen. All right, so geez, do I do? Yeah, do I just do this? Yep. That looks good. And with our post processor, we can pass it. We could pass the element, so we'll do that. All right, so pass E and I, and we're gonna do a filter, and then this should give us a new array. So, and this will be fine. So if ID, oh no, I don't want to filter the element. If ID, yeah, okay. If ID, like maybe I can do it like this. If ID E. V. All right. I think that should work. Oh, let's see. No, it doesn't. Post processor, pre-processor. Why is that? Now it's just not showing. Oh god. Why would it show my message? That's kind of crazy. Failure. And it's not even showing my message. C payload. Message error. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's just having a general error and it doesn't tell me here because I don't console log it. Because if anything, I can do like console log error. Yeah, there we go. E is not defined. E is not defined. And that's on 54. E is not defined. Oh, I guess we just don't pass it anything. But you see how that works? That's really good. That it doesn't pass. Well, I expected to pass it here, so that's actually really not good. It's actually shit-tastic. Ugh. I'll have to figure that out one day. All right, so C payload, and my payload's not working. All right, what do I? Last ditch effort here. And then I'll take my own advice and just walk away. Oh yeah, I didn't want to do this, but I will. P processor and take in array, and I'll pass it the array, and then I'll do. Oh, well, yeah, I was going to put A. So let result equal empty array, and then I will do a dot array dot. What do I want to do with the array? So I'm going to do array dot filter, no dot for each, because that is my crutch. Freaking crazy! I really got to figure that out. I put that in there. I know how to do a mean for each. I'll tell you that much. All right, cool. So for each, all right, and then we got to pass E and I. All right, so we pass the array to the function, to the post processor function, and then we're going to do result dot push, because we're going to push something onto this empty array. That's how we add things to it, and then we're going to do E. All right, so after everything's been deleted, then we're going to push it onto there, and then at the end of it, we will return. We will return result, and I think this is going to not do what I want it to. We'll do it in the loop. We'll do it in the for each here. So if, and this is where we do array.length -1, because of how arrays are counted, and we spelled length wrong. And then we're going to compare it to I, and then we're going to return result. So by it returning that result, it'll do it on the last iteration of it. It shouldn't need like an async await here, but fuck my life, it probably will somehow. And I think, no, post processor is just going to need, yeah, okay, so get account result is passed to post processor. Boom, like that. Post processor, get account result. All right, yeah, I think we're good. Let's see, there's no errors. Maybe I can get to work out. Ah, frig. All right, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay. So why is it not passing us anything? Why is it not returning anything for us? And it's going to be what I just said it was, where I have to do the async keyword, and then I have to await that. Freaking have to await this. Fucking bullshit. Result.push E. So then once it processes, and then here, I'm going to return result here. And then since it's an async function, async func, await, await. You piece of all right, so is it? No, because I'm typing too fast. Calm down, Kimosabi. Boom, and it's still. So has everything in it. Great. So await processor. Let's see what happens here. Post processor. It should delete everything. Push E. Await result. Oh, okay. So I should return. Oh. Yeah. Why does it return that? Let's do this. Let's console.log here. RE. So we see how it looks, and return result. Take that out because that seems to be working fairly well. So yeah, it's not getting rid of these things that we need to get rid of, but it's returning the result, so that's good. I almost want to say it's something like this. All right, we're almost finished. I swear, guys. I'll let you guys go to bed. Dang, it's almost 3 hours again. Whoa. Well, it's still 12 o'clock, so that's fine. I can get to work out here. My Zen time. All right, cool. Bro, crazy. So I'm doing all of this, and this really just came to mind that I can remove all of this stuff via the find command here. So Mongoose or MongoDB has project. Whoa, that is a cool picture. That bike is freaking sick. I want to get another motorcycle, but I always say that, and I'll never do it. But the Mongoose guide, and there's what they call projections. Projections. Come on. No projection. Oh man. Query. And then I should be able to do a find. See the EFFF find. All right, cool. Find. And then I should be able to remove here filter. So DB selector. So parameters filter. Let's see if I can filter something out here. So query find one. Why would I find one? I don't want to find one. Filter, if not specified, returns all documents. So object and then object ID. Callback. Give me an example, baby. Come on. Query this function. Man, query prototype find. All right. So this is a function, and then year. Now, do I just say filter? Because I can, you see that? I can do. Oh, okay. I think I remember how to do it. There we go. Had to process that in my head. This right here, we are not gonna need, and we're not gonna need this in that form. So we're going to edit this. So many ways to do these things. And we're just gonna do the result. And then what we're gonna do is in this find here, we're gonna do underscore ID and then 0, and then see how this works. What that should do is filter out the ID for us. Message string object. Error argument pass must be single string of 12 bytes. Okay, so I think I can do ID. Oh man. So let's just look at the MongoDB because I know they have a good MongoDB docs. Oh, this is a cool picture. I don't like this here, but that's cool. MongoDB guide manual, and then find collection find and projection to return in the document that match query filter. So I can do a projection. Field 1 or true, 0 or false. So I think now is that because I didn't encapsulate it like this? Ah. No, that's great. I'm doing this. All right, cool. All right. String hex characters. All right, sit down and read. All right, so field nested field, ID field projection. The ID field is included in the return document by default, unless you explicitly specify 0 in the projection. To suppress the field. So now, how do I define a projection? I want to say there's a query, which is a document, and then there's a projection. So I think I have to pass an empty document. So this is sometimes the hard part, and I'm doing this from memory here, but I think you have to do it like this. So this right here is the query. I pass nothing, meaning it should get all records. And then this would be the projection here, which defines what records I want to filter out. So as you can see, that is totally, absolutely freaking wrong. And I added an extra one there. Here you go. It's funny the way I just said that. All right, that's cool. Yeah, there you go. So again, you could do this so many ways. I was doing it the hard way because I forgot how to do this, but I finally remembered, pull that one out my ass. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. We can do it in the query itself, which is a lot easier and a little bit nicer. And that's all about knowing, I had a time where I went through the documentation for MongoDB, and I kind of just got used to it and started seeing some of these different things that you could do and started working with it. So it's just, you have different points in your life where you're doing stuff. Yeah, there we go. Boom. So that, I don't have to do anything on my back end in terms of processing. It handles it all in the database. But you have different points in your life when you're doing all types of stuff. So now we can see that I have my test account, and I can make changes to accounts if I wanted to eventually, or anything else like that. So account entry, entry account, and then I could probably even do a change or something like that, endpoint. But that's it for now. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, leave them in the comment section. Sorry it took me a little bit longer on this last part for this GET request, but we worked through the problems here, kind of jogged my own memory in terms of me doing stuff here. But let's go ahead and just clean this up here I'll just clean this up because I don't really need anything else out of here for now. And I'll organize stuff differently later. But yeah, we got an endpoint that takes data, which, as you can see, has a little bit more information in there, a lot more checks. And then we have an endpoint that gets all that data, returns it all once it's been entered. So now we can actually add an endpoint that, deletes data. So I might actually rename this to add instead of entry. I might do that. Yeah, probably do that. So add account, and then have another one that says get account, and then all those other things. So we'll separate it like that. All right, guys, as always, thank you very much. Peace.